In the darkest corners of Victorian London, where fog chokes the streets and shadows hide unspeakable crimes, a child is born into a world that doesn't want him. His first breath is drawn in a workhouse, a place where the poor are punished for their poverty. His mother dies moments after his birth, leaving him nameless, unwanted, utterly alone. The authorities give him a name almost as a joke, Oliver Twist. But this is not a story of a victim. This is the tale of a boy who, despite a world designed to crush him, refuses to surrender his soul. A boy who will face starvation, betrayal, and monsters wearing human faces, yet somehow hold on to something most adults have already lost: innocence. Welcome to Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens's masterpiece of survival, where childhood meets corruption and where one simple request will change everything. Please, sir, I want some more. Part 1, The Workhouse. Oliver survives his first 9 years in a baby farm, a place where unwanted children are kept barely alive on the cheapest possible food. Most don't make it. Those who do are hollow-eyed ghosts, their childhood stolen before they could begin. At 9, Oliver is transferred to the workhouse itself, a Victorian nightmare where the poor are broken through hard labor and deliberate starvation. The philosophy is simple: make poverty so unbearable that people will do anything to escape it, even if it means working themselves to death. The boys are fed 3 meals of thin gruel a day, nothing more. Their stomachs ache constantly. They grow desperate enough to draw lots to see who will ask for more food. The task falls to Oliver. That evening, after finishing his small bowl, Oliver approaches the master. The dining hall goes silent. Every eye watches him. Please, sir, I want some more. The master turns pale. The ladle drops from his hand. It's as if Oliver has committed blasphemy. No one asks for more. No one dares suggest that the portions aren't enough, that the system is designed to starve them. Oliver is dragged before the board of directors. They declare him dangerous, a rebel who will corrupt the other boys. He's locked in a dark room, displayed as a warning. The board offers £5 to anyone who will take him as an apprentice, essentially selling him into slavery. A coffin maker named Mr. Sowerberry agrees to take him. Oliver leaves the workhouse, but he's only trading one nightmare for another. Part 2. Among the Dead Oliver becomes apprentice to an undertaker, a man who profits from death. He sleeps among the coffins in the shop, surrounded by the boxes that will hold the bodies of the poor. Some nights he wakes to the sound of rats scratching at the wood, and he can't tell if they're outside the coffins or inside them. Mr. Sowerberry discovers Oliver has a particularly sad, innocent face, perfect for a mourner at children's funerals. Oliver is dressed in black and sent to walk before the coffins of dead children. His presence designed to make the grieving parents weep harder. He's walking advertisements for grief, a living reminder of childhood cut short. But Noah Claypole, another apprentice, takes pleasure in tormenting Oliver. He mocks everything about him, his poverty, his orphan status. But when Noah insults Oliver's dead mother, calling her vile names, something breaks inside the boy. Oliver attacks him. It's the first time Oliver has fought back against the cruelty of the world, but the world punishes resistance. Mrs. Sowerberry and Noah beat him. Mr. Sowerberry locks him away. Oliver realizes a terrible truth. There is no safety here, no future, only endless suffering. That night, Oliver makes a decision that will change his life forever. He runs away. At dawn, he sets out on foot toward London, 70 miles away. He has nothing, no money, no food, no plan. He walks for 7 days, begging for scraps, sleeping in fields. By the time he reaches the outskirts of London, he's starving, exhausted, and completely vulnerable, which is exactly when the predators find him. Part 3. The Thieves' Den. In a London slum, Oliver meets a boy about his own age who calls himself the Artful Dodger. The Dodger is quick-witted, street-smart, dressed in an oversized coat and a battered top hat. He speaks like an adult, moves like a performer, and sees Oliver's desperation immediately. "I know a gentleman," the Dodger says, "who'll give you lodgings for nothing." Desperate and trusting, Oliver follows him through a maze of filthy streets into one of London's worst neighborhoods. They enter a dilapidated building and climb to a room filled with smoke, shadows, and suspicious eyes. This is where Oliver meets Fagin. Fagin is ancient and reptilian, with matted red hair and a face that seems more skull than flesh. He presides over a gang of child thieves, boys the Dodger's age and younger, all trained to pick pockets and steal. Fagin calls them his pupils, but really they're his slaves, forced to steal for him or face the streets alone. That night, Oliver watches the boys empty their pockets. Handkerchiefs, wallets, watches, all stolen that day. Fagin counts each item with greedy fingers, his eyes gleaming. The boys play a game where Fagin puts items in his pockets and the boys practice stealing them without him noticing. Oliver thinks it's all a game. He doesn't understand that he's being trained to become a criminal. The next day, the Dodger and another boy named Charlie Bates take Oliver out to work. Oliver still doesn't understand what that means. Then he watches in horror as the Dodger steals a handkerchief from an old gentleman browsing books at a stall. The gentleman, Mr. Brownlow, feels the theft and looks up. He sees Oliver standing nearby, frozen in shock. "Stop, thief!" someone shouts, and everyone assumes it's Oliver. Oliver runs. The crowd chases him like a pack of hounds after a fox. He's caught, dragged before a magistrate, and would be sent to prison. Except Mr. Brownlow, studying the terrified boy's face, sees something in him. Innocence. Truth. The real thief is identified by the bookseller, and Oliver is released into Mr. Brownlow's care. For the first time in his life, Oliver experiences kindness. Mr. Brownlow gives him clean clothes, good food, and a warm bed. He begins to believe in the possibility of goodness. But Fagin and his associate, a brutal criminal named Bill Sykes, can't allow Oliver to escape. Oliver knows where they live. If he talks to the police, they'll all hang. They need to get him back. Part 4. Kidnapped Nancy, a young woman under Sykes's control, is sent to recapture Oliver. She finds him on an errand for Mr. Brownlow and, pretending to be his sister, drags him back to Fagin's lair. Oliver screams for help, but no one intervenes. In the slums, you don't get involved. Back in the thieves' den, Oliver is beaten and threatened. Fagin and Sykes have a plan. They need a small boy to break into a house. Oliver will be the tool. Bill Sykes is a monster, brutal, violent, accompanied everywhere by his bull terrier. He threatens Oliver, "Do what we say or die." Oliver has no choice. In the middle of the night, Sykes takes Oliver to a large house in the countryside. He forces Oliver through a tiny window and orders him to open the front door from inside. Oliver realizes this is burglary, a crime punishable by death. Inside the house, Oliver makes a desperate decision. Instead of opening the door, he tries to warn the household. He's running toward the stairs when shots are fired. Oliver feels a burning pain in his arm and collapses. Sykes grabs him and drags him out. But as they escape, Oliver slips from his grasp and falls into a ditch, bleeding and unconscious. When Oliver wakes, he finds himself back inside the house he tried to rob. The owners, Mrs. Maylie and her adopted niece Rose, have found him wounded in their garden. Instead of calling the police, they nurse him back to health. These are good people, perhaps the first truly good people Oliver has ever known. As Oliver recovers, he tells them his story. They believe him. Rose and Mrs. Maylie provide what Oliver has always needed, a family. For several months, Oliver lives in peace, helping around the house, learning to read properly, experiencing what childhood should have been. But the past doesn't let go so easily. Fagin and a mysterious man named Monks are searching for Oliver, and they're willing to do anything to find him. Part 5. The truth revealed. Nancy begins to have doubts. She's seen too much cruelty, participated in too many crimes. Oliver's innocence has awakened something in her, a memory of who she might have been before the streets and Fagin destroyed her. She makes a dangerous choice. She contacts Rose Maylie in secret and tells her everything. Monks, whose real name is Edward Leaford, is Oliver's half-brother. Their father left a will stating that Oliver should inherit part of the estate, but only if Oliver remains innocent and uncorrupted. Monks has been working with Fagin to deliberately corrupt Oliver, to turn him into a criminal, so he'll forfeit his inheritance and Monks can keep everything. They've been orchestrating Oliver's destruction from the beginning, but Nancy's betrayal is discovered. Bill Sykes, in a drunken rage, murders her in one of literature's most brutal scenes. He beats her to death in their room while she begs for mercy. When he realizes what he's done, Sykes flees into the night, haunted by visions of Nancy's blood. The murder shocks even London's hardened criminals. The police hunt Sykes through the city's shadows. He tries to escape across the rooftops, but in his panic, he accidentally hangs himself with the very rope he was using to climb down. Fagin is arrested, tried, and sentenced to hang. In his cell, waiting for execution, the old criminal finally shows fear. All his cunning, all his manipulation cannot save him from the gallows. Oliver visits him one last time, and Fagin, terrified of death, reveals where he's hidden his stolen treasures. It's a pathetic end for a man who spent his life corrupting children. Part 6. Home at last. Monks is found and forced to confess everything. The full story emerges. Oliver's father, Edwin Leaford, had been trapped in an unhappy marriage to Monks's mother. He fell in love with Oliver's mother, Agnes, but died before he could marry her. Agnes, pregnant and alone, died giving birth in the workhouse. The gold locket Agnes wore, which contained her portrait and her wedding ring, was stolen by the workhouse matron and sold to Monks, who destroyed it to erase evidence of Oliver's true identity. But the truth cannot be destroyed. Documents prove Oliver is legitimate and entitled to his inheritance. Mr. Brownlow, who turns out to have been his father's closest friend, adopts Oliver legally. And then comes the final revelation. Rose Maylie, the kind young woman who helped save Oliver, is actually Agnes's sister, Oliver's aunt. The family he thought was lost forever has been around him all along. Monks is given a chance to reform and is sent abroad with half the inheritance. He wastes it on vice and dies in prison. The Bumbles The workhouse master and matron who abused Oliver end up in the very workhouse they once ruled, experiencing the cruelty they inflicted on others. Oliver, the boy who was born into nothing, who asked for more and was punished, who survived starvation, criminals, and bullets, finally finds what he was searching for all along: a home, a family, and the simple right to be a child. Oliver Twist is more than a story of one boy's survival. It's Charles Dickens's furious protest against a system that punished the poor for being poor, that treated children as expendable, that allowed cruelty to hide behind respectability. But it's also a story of hope, the radical idea that innocence can survive corruption, that goodness exists even in the darkest places, and that every child deserves more than society is willing to give them. Oliver's simple request, "Please, sir, I want some more," became one of literature's most famous lines because it represents something universal: the human right to ask for better, to demand dignity, to refuse to accept suffering as inevitable. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this journey through Victorian London's shadows, please subscribe for more classic tales. Until next time, may you always have the courage to ask for more.